Thanks for listening. Yeah. Hello, everybody. Welcome to We Say Things, episode 37, sponsored by Absolutely Nobody. SUNSfan here with Cinderman. Greetings, salutations. How are you?
I'm good,
friend?
Shannon. I'm good.
Good.
How are you?
So glad. I'm actually trying to fix my sleep schedule because of the casting and whatnot. It really did a number on me, Cinder. I'm not going to lie. I've been tired the entire day. I've struggled.
It gets harder when you get older. It's rough.
That's what she said. Actually, that is definitely not what she said. Anyway.
That would be a great development, I guess.
That's true.
Unusual.
It's called rigor mortis, Cinderin.
Okay.
It happens to everybody. All right, so I wanted to talk about one quick thing. I didn't want to talk about this when it happened because I wanted to know the results first. So before we get started, I had surgery a few months ago. Did I even tell you about this? I can't remember.
I'm not that good of a friend that you would tell me about important things, right? So
it was okay. So I've never had Have you had surgery before?
Yes.
Okay, tell me your story first, then.
No.
Surgery on what? Was it circumcision? Doesn't count. Oh wait, you're not circumcised.
No,
Never mind.
No, I didn't.
Doesn't count.
Oh, you had that, so that's another one for you.
That's true. That's my first surgery. Did you have like a broken leg or something? We can talk.
Okay, let me tell you about it. But actually, I need to look it up first because I'm not sure what this is called.
It's penis.
Yeah. I think it's called the same in English, actually, right? Yeah. I had a pilonidinal cyst, if you know what that is.
Sure don't.
Okay. So basically, especially, it's more prevalent in hairier men, basically. It's like, basically what can happen is that an ingrown hair gets so ingrown somewhere in your body, and your body starts like kind of panicking and it turns into a cyst. And if it reaches a certain point and doesn't empty itself out, you need to have it surgically removed. Because basically, it even if you like pop it, if you will, it refills itself again.
Wow, it's so like a refresher.
Okay. Basically, yeah. So you need to have that closed.
Would you consider yourself a hairy man? Is my first question.
I'm definitely hairier than the average. Yeah.
Why do I not get that feeling when I'm with you, quote unquote?
Because I shave. You? Have you seen my arms and legs, Shannon? You've seen my arms and legs.
Can you show your
fucking
arms on
monkey.
Camera, please? Show your arms.
Yeah, sure.
Is that really that much more? Mine's like
you're
so
hairy
bright.
Too. That's why it doesn't stand out to you. But for the average person,
is your chest hairy?
Yeah.
How hairy?
I'm not showing that on cam though.
All right, describe it as vividly as you can. How hairy is your chest? Because I'm half Middle Eastern, right? I should be really hairy, but I don't consider myself very hairy at all. I'm just like,
honestly, I just saw my arm hair in the camera shot, and it doesn't show it very well. It's denser than it looked.
Okay, I believe you.
I do have pretty dense hair, and
It's not a competition, Cinderin.
No, it's not. But yeah, I have it from both my dad and my brother are also very hairy. So
okay,
it runs in the.
So when was this surgery? How long ago?
It was when I lived, I want to say 5 years, four
and
years.
What location?
Maybe? In the butt.
Actually in the butt?
Yeah, I kind of couldn't sit very well for a couple of days.
So you couldn't play Dota?
I believe it's the most common place to get it. I think the first day or two, I was lying sideways on the couch playing Zelda, the Train Tracks game. What was that called?
Okay, I couldn't
Spirit Tracks on the Nintendo DS or whatever.
So how did the surgery, let me start over. I'm very tired. Mm-hmm. How does the surgery go? Like, do they have to put you out? Do they just numb it and they do it there?
They put me out, they shaved my ass, and then they cut it out. And then I had to flush for like 1 to 2 weeks, twice a day.
What does that mean?
To make sure there was a hole in my body, basically, that needed to rebuild. So to prevent that stuff builds up in there, there's like a lot of pus that will rebuild and stuff.
Oh yeah,
so you need to flush it out to make sure that it doesn't refester, and then it closes itself. And I haven't had a problem since, so it went very well.
Wow. Well, congratulations for your butt. I'm guessing your butt's very hairy.
I might actually be one-upping you on saying something gross on the podcast.
I will say my butt, I don't think has one. I mean, maybe it does, but it's not hairy at all. Like the cheek area is not hairy at all, unless you're talking about a different area. But Okay, so that brings me to to my.
This
Thanks
is a
for
great
ruining the
start to the
podcast. Or
episode.
this is sponsored by nobody, by
Fantastic.
the way. Just letting you guys know.
If anybody, we got some hair removal service that want to sponsor the pod, we're ready.
Actually, we did get reached out. Anyway, so surgery for me. This was about 3 months ago now. I don't exercise very much, Cinder. I don't know if you're aware of this. It's something I'm trying to fix. I know
Never
it's a
would have
shock.
guessed.
I know. I have been playing a game called Pickleball. Have we talked about this at all?
Pickleball?
Pickleball. It's a stupid name. It makes no sense.
It's like if you asked me, if you came out of nowhere and you were like, hey, have you heard of pickleball? I would be like, no, but this is absolutely an American sport. There is no way it is anything else.
So the guy that created it, it's just named after his dog.
It's a sport named after pickles.
All right. You shouldn't be talking. This is named after the guy's dog named Pickles, which is a normal name, unlike Onion, okay? Just throwing it out there. Pickles and onions.
Why is pickle a better name? It's not called onion, it's called Leuchten. It's a big difference.
Pickle be pickle. It just sounds better. It's a good word, okay? That's all there is. Anyway,
okay.
Stop ruining the story and let me talk. Okay, so I've been playing this game called Pickleball, which is a cross between tennis and ping pong. It's like you're a giant on a ping pong table. I know that sounds weird. It almost sounds like tennis, but it's like a paddle. It's actually really cool. And you play with like this wiffle ball, so you can hit it really hard and it doesn't go that far.
Is that another food?
Wiffle ball is just don't worry about it. Anywho.
Wiffle? It sounds like a waffle.
It does look like a waffle because it has holes in the ball. Okay,
I'm going to Google wiffle ball right now.
Yeah, by all means. It just means it doesn't get as much air. I'm sure you guys call it something else.
Wait, what other sports does this get used in?
It's wiffle ball is like basically baseball, but with this ball and
baseballs have no holes in them.
It's a different form of baseball. It's the same game you're playing, but you use a different bat and a different ball. It's just like softball, same as baseball.
So then,
but the ball
why
is
make
huge.
a different sport if you use the same bat?
It's for old ladies that can't handle real baseball, Cinder. You don't want to get the crap beat out of you.
That's very sexist, Shannon. All right, go on.
And men. Okay, so anyway, I've been playing pickleball, and for whatever reason, I've had this issue in my legs, okay, where my feet would go numb and my calves would just like hurt really bad after like 10 minutes. And that ain't good. Yeah, that ain't good. Like the feet going numb thing was really scary because, diabetes and all that stuff. So I go to the doctor and they tell me that I have, the funny thing is I don't even know the name of this. The specialists are called varicose vein specialists, but it's not a varicose vein. So essentially, there's a vein in each of my legs. It's something I was born with that it's supposed to help your blood flow. It's like a supplementary vein, okay? It's supposed to help your blood flow down into your feet, essentially, from your legs. But it's doing the opposite. It's going up. So it's fucking everything up. So what they do... Yes?
So your body is constantly numbing your legs.
Yeah, I've always had bad circulation in general. And I'll get to that in a second. So what it does is it goes backwards. So what they do is they literally cauterize the vein. There's no way to actually fix this. They just destroy the vein and then it just fixes itself over time. So I got the surgery. They actually put me out for it. It's like this whole thing. I have to shave my own leg. I actually cut myself because I'm not good at shaving, Cinder. It was really bad. They shaved my whole leg.
Cut yourself so they didn't have to do it together.
Please cut yourself on the way to the doctor's office. I had to do one leg at a time, so it was one leg and then a few days of recovery until I walked pretty much right away, but it's painful and whatever. And then a few weeks later, I do the next leg. And it also fixed, so that I tested this out recently. It's been 3 months and it's fixed the numbing thing. It's also fixed another thing, Cinderin. This is the weirdest one. I've had this problem since I was a kid. And I just always assumed everybody had this problem. Like when you're standing in just an endless line, it feels like at Disneyland or the airport, you're just standing around. Within 5 minutes, my legs have always just started to throb horribly. So if I'm at Disneyland, after the entire day is over, my legs are so fucking destroyed, like beyond belief. Like I need to sit. I feel like I need a wheelchair half the time.
Do you think there might originally have been a connection between this and your restless leg syndrome thing?
So that's what I thought. It might be related, right? I'm like, because I was asking all these questions because I went in for the numbing, right? The numbing issue. And like, will it fix this? They're like, yes, this will fix this. Will it fix my My issue is standing a lot and hurting. I said, yes, it should fix that. Then I asked, will it fix my RLS? And they're like, depends. Some people it gets better, some people not. It's actually gotten worse since the surgery, but that might be in my mind. Apparently, it's not
now
real.
your legs actually are functional, so now they're not numbing themselves anymore.
Yeah.
So now they can actually move all the time.
So that is.
I'm trying to envision how this looks in the body. Like the blood is flowing in one direction, and you have like two spots where it's pushing it back.
Right. But it's a supplementary vein. Like the vein's not needed.
Right. So there's still stuff coming by, but just part of it would get pushed back the wrong way.
Right. And now those veins have been destroyed. They're gone.
And you said supplementary as in not everybody has them, or everybody has them, but they're usually facing the other way?
They have them. They're just...
Okay.
It's been a long time since they actually told me about this, but it's not a necessary vein to have. If it's working, it's great. If not, fuck it. Get rid of it. And it worked. So
it's
that's
kind
the first
of like
surgery I've ever had.
Thing you get removed that is... a lot of people get removed that is kind of optional, but can get cancer. What's that called again? You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Wait, say it again?
Like, it's the thing that you can get cancer in, but it's not
tumor
necessary for your body. So quite a lot of people get it removed. Hang on, let me see
the
what
prostate.
The translation is. No, no, not the prostate.
You don't need prostate.
The cacum.
Cacum? Appendix?
Is it called appendix? And yeah, maybe it's appendix.
Is it a thing that bursts on your right side?
The translation here is cacum, but that might be the British version.
That sounds delicious when you say cacum, but
I guess it's the appendix.
Okay, anyway, so that's the first surgery I've ever had in my entire life. How did you react to getting put to sleep? Because I was a little bit scared about that for some reason. Just was it good for you? Or
I laid down and then I passed out, so it was pretty easy, honestly.
So the first surgery on my first leg, it was the same. I couldn't believe that. I just couldn't remember anything. I was just out. Second surgery, I woke up as they were still inside my leg, and it hurt. I'm like, like, don't worry, we're almost done
Get
now.
Get the tranquilizer, Alan.
But other than that, it was fine. So that was an interesting.
No, I didn't wake up at all until I was way out of.
That's good because they were probably real deep in your ass. Okay, so
probably.
One thing I just want to mention, because I did say last time that we would talk about it, the Oscar bet that we created. We haven't talked about it since. We still need to work out those details, so we'll keep you guys posted. Okay, let's get on to Dota-related topics, Sindren.
Because as you just said Oscars, we need to talk about push-up, Shannon. Because last episode, I said I can't do a push-up. And I was like, I'm gonna go try it again.
Okay.
So I went downstairs and I got professional supervision by my girlfriend. And as I think it's a question of definition here, because for me, a push-up is when you're down to 90 degrees. Like it's where you get all the way down and all the way up. And she said not everybody can do that because it's about your range of motion and like the dimensions of your body. I can't do that. I can do push-ups. I just can't go all the way down.
And that's what I thought was a requirement
for it to be a push-up. Maybe. Or it's like, I don't know, maybe the dimensions between how big your chest muscles are relative to whatever. Because she said it's the same thing when you do bench pressing, where depending on some people that are more compact and smaller, the range of motion is different. And when you're pressing against your body, it's always relative to a range of motion, how much you can do. So I guess I can do it. And I just always was trying to go all the way down. I was like, I can't do this. I can't do a push-up. I can't believe it.
All right. We're going to have to get video evidence on this, and I will tell you whether it's a push-up or not. Okay? Your description does not suffice at this point.
Okay.
Now, my question for you is, do you know what your wingspan is?
I still wouldn't want it to be the punishment, but if it has to be, we can do that.
Oh, I didn't. We can discuss the details later. Do you know what your wingspan is by any chance?
So if I stretch both my arms to the side, how far?
Yeah. Don't guess. I'm just asking if you know.
No, I don't know.
Okay. We'll have to revisit that.
But I have really long arms.
Yeah. So if you have really long arms, that might affect your push-ups potentially.
That's what I think too. Okay. It's just the dimensions between my upper body and my legs and my arms are, I think, a bit unusual. But I don't know. Either way, Shannon, I'll train hard until I can go 90 degrees, okay? I'll do it for you.
That's what she said. Okay, so apparently, Cinder, we are the third best content creators in Dota 2. Thanks, guys.
Wow.
I didn't even know we were nominated.
Who's above us?
That's a good question. Let me scroll down here.
This is voted by Reddit, by the way.
Yeah, this is Reddit. Apparently, it's really far down there. I need to actually control
Number
F to
1,
find this.
Dota Alchemy.
There we go.
Number 2, Sir Action Slacks. Okay.
All right. Rigged.
These awards don't mean shit. Okay?
They're actually
If
listed.
Slacks,
the best content creator is literally listed last when I go to this thing. That's not good. That's the least important, apparently.
If Slacks gets second, there's something wrong with this. Because Slacks should definitely be getting first. Come on.
What content? Okay, name one piece of content he's made this year.
I don't know the names of them. That's what's so beautiful about it.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
You don't really know. You're just laughing at something you see at an event, and it's always Slacks or Melistrix or them both together that have come up with something stupid.
Melistrix is not on here. It specifically says Slacks. You know.
Yeah, I mean, Melistrix is just like the guy in the shadows.
It's just like the Oscars. Slacks obviously paid to get second place.
Yeah, we also paid with all the sponsorship money that we got. So thank you guys for that, for sponsoring the show.
Thank you to our very special
sponsors. We bought
sponsors.
third place for $20.
Wow, that's actually steeper than I thought it would be. I can't afford that. So anyway, thank you to the community for voting for us. I saw that when I was looking back at the threads, there was nominations for Dota Cinema as well, but it was actually for We Say Things specifically. So I don't know if our votes got split into two. Cinder, maybe we got first place if you combine them.
Yeah, I might have actually.
It's okay though.
So what'd you get for doing more than one thing, Shannon? Just be a Slacks, do one thing, just clown. That's his thing.
That's what he does. He clowns. Okay, so this week, Cinderin, Matchmaking Update came out. I think it was like a day after our podcast. So you seem very happy about it. So let me just read what this is, and you can give me your thoughts. So we've removed variability in the amount of MMR you can gain or lose from a match. This means that there will be no longer matches that give results of plus 10, minus 40. Do you want to go line by line, or just read the whole thing, and then we'll
just
discuss?
Keep reading.
Instead of matches giving 25 MMR, solo games will now give 30 MMR, and party games will give 20. We have more confidence in the impact of a player on a game when they are solo compared to in a party, and thus we are willing to move a player's MMR faster/slower depending on that. And then the last point is we have removed the fast-slow queue and replaced it with ranked roles and ranked classic. To play in ranked roles, you need to earn role queue games by playing matches while selecting all roles. This is unchanged from before. Ranked Classic has replaced the slow queue, and it does not let you select roles. We are making this change because the slow-fast queue concept has not been successful in producing good quality games. The end result was slow queue waiting a little bit longer, and then forcing very bad quality matches on the entire player pool. I can attest that this is true. We think it's a fair requirement to enforce that if you want to have the advantage of playing a specific role, you have to contribute to the matchmaking system by sometimes playing other roles or just queue role less as in previous years. Thoughts?
I can tell you anecdotally, from the moment this patch dropped, my average game is like infinitely better. Like whatever specifics they changed, this made my enjoyment of playing the game so much higher. So what I'm thinking is, so basically I agree with everything it says, by the way. That's one thing. I think these like big span games are not good, where it's like your massive favorite or massive underdog, and if you win it's amazing, and if you lose you're like whatever, but it sucks for the winning team, right? If you get like 10 MMR or whatever, 15. I think the idea of solo MMR being assigned a higher numerical value than party for the purpose of accuracy, I think is also very fair. Over the course of time, it doesn't really it's basically a way of placing people more correctly quicker. It's not a way of placing people more correctly in general. Because, if everybody played 10,000 games, whether you played party or solo, you should end up around the same spot in the end. But with a small sample size, party games will be very non-representative. Like if you play 100 games in party and 100 games in solo, your solo win rate might be like 52% or 50 or something, and your party one might actually be 70 because you're playing with a good player together. But as you rise, the games will get harder, and over time it would stabilize anyway. So that's really good. And yeah, the thing that I'm absolutely the most happy about in the wording of this is that they just own up to, we tried this thing, it didn't work the way we wanted, so we've scrapped it. That has me very hopeful, because
part of it,
that's
because they didn't have rank roles before this, right? Or they did briefly as just like a battle pass thing, but as like a permanent
No, we had ranked
feature.
roles permanently. We had ranked roles.
Without the matchmaking changes that they were experimenting on? I feel like it's been one and the same.
Or it depends what iteration you mean. Like right before this patch dropped, we
Mhm.
had ranked roles only with fast queue or slow queue, right?
But they were experimenting every like week on something. Like it wasn't necessarily these changes.
We had fast
specifically.
slow queue for at least a month, maybe a month and a half.
Okay.
We had this concept, and it actually, when that got introduced, the game got worse. And I think what happened was, so from my perspective, right, they added this thing where if there's any player in the game that's 7.5 kmmr or higher, there are no roles. It was a way of trying to help the very high bracket players generate games of high skill where you didn't have to wait for that 5 kmmr support so that you could fill a game, and then the game got horribly imbalanced. The problem was when they added that thing that the algorithm could now start fetching a random 7.5k or higher player, and then suddenly it had a valid match because now it didn't need roles anymore. And I'm guessing with this fast slow queue removal and the changes that they've made, that what has ended up happening is the player pool is just way bigger because there's way fewer people that role queue specifically. So now it has a way higher chance of finding an eligible match across the board. My games have, on average, I think gut feeling, the average MMR in my games is up by 500 to 1,000. That's
tasty.
A landslide of difference. It's like crazy how much that matters for how good the games are. So from my perspective, super awesome. In the lower ranges, so this is what I don't know about this change. I don't know how noticeable this will be. Some people will be annoyed, man, I can't get my role every game. But at the same time, I feel like, this is a really serious fairness concept. I just think this is super fair. And I think if people can have the mindset going in, okay, maybe I'm not playing my mid lane this game, you learn a lot more about Dota if you don't play the same role over and over and over all the time. Like getting a different perspective so you understand what it's like playing support. Playing better support will make you better in mid as well because you understand some dynamics of the game differently, like where to move when, how to help, how to get runes, where to tell your supports to ward. All this stuff, and understanding why they can and can't do things in the game instead of just being like, lol noobs, no wards,
I mean, they'll still
and
do
the
that,
same for the other way around. If you're a support and you try to play mid a couple of times, you're like, wow, okay, when I'm support, I should probably think more about this, right?
No, I agree in principle. I don't think that it'll have quite that effect for many people.
Right.
Toxicity will still prevail because there's
but didn't it anyway? Like that's the question.
Did.
Like people got their roles, but they were still being dicks.
Of course, because people
now they
are just
be
dicks
over the roles. Yeah, it's like I feel like that's kind of. I don't think that's where we solve toxicity by just putting people in boxes.
No, I agree.
It's about a mentality change or the game encouraging that mentality change somehow, and you're not getting rid of it ever. Like,
I mean, if you really want to roll, if you play party games, you can still queue for all roles technically and still get tokens, right? Like that's unchanged as far as I know.
If you are, it's relative to the size of your party. Yeah, you get less. If you're a 5-man party, I think you get 1.
Yeah, and I think this is perfectly fair because if you truly, like me, for example, I never was going to play position 5. It just ain't happening. It means I'm going to get somebody to queue with me as position 5, and it'll be that much easier for me to actually play. Just get friends, basically.
The alternative is if you do queue all roles and you get into the game, as soon as the roles are assigned you, like, I play everything else than 5, and then there's a very high chance you get some role that's not 5. Maybe you need to bite the apple.
The apple,
saying, is it?
I would love to bite an apple.
We have a saying in Danish: bite into the sour apple. I don't know if that translates to English. I guess it doesn't.
It sounds delicious, but
it's sour, so it's not really nice. It's you
like
you get the idea.
Whoa! Okay, we're stopping this podcast right now. You don't like sour apples?
I don't mind. It's a saying. It's like
okay. No, I don't care about the saying.
If the idiom is biting
right
into the sour apple, it's relative to all the sweet ones, which are perceived better, right? So you have to take the bad one.
What's considered a sweet apple? What color are they?
It's called bite the bullet, somebody says. That's true. That's what it's called in English. Oh, what's that?
Of course, in English, it's bullet instead of apple.
Well, I mean, that's just classic American.
Do you like red apples? I can't stand red apples.
Yeah, I like all apples.
Green apples are the best, Syndrome.
Yeah.
Okay, there's no
They're
discussion.
good in different things. I would say the green apples are probably also better in like cooking overall.
That's possibly true. Anyway, yeah, matchmaking is much better now, I think, as a result of this. Yeah. Ever since they added early on in their experimentation, I thought the games were really good. But then they started putting this fast queue in, and they instantly got garbage for me. Of course, this is still a small sample size, but it feels like that's just a consensus all around. So this is just a win-win in most respects.
I would say I haven't fully kept track of it, but I would say about half of my games have 3 or 4 players from the top 100 in them. And the other half generally has the majority of players in top 300. So it's really good. And there's going to be the outlier once in a while where there's a player that's like rank 1k or 1.5. But in the past, I've had games where I'm ranked 200 and everybody else is ranked 2.5k. So it's like a world of difference. It's way more enjoyable. So,
all right.
Awesome.
Well,
big thumbs
we're very
up from
happy.
Here.
Thanks, Valve. Dream League Season 13 Major. We just got done casting the qualifiers.
The group stage.
Me and you and me, I should say. What did I say?
You said qualifiers.
Group stage, that's right. That's not the same thing as qualifiers. Cinder and I cast, and I cast with Kezu as well. He was really good. Both of you, he was invited to Dream League.
Good. It's good that he was good at least.
Yes, he was excellent. You were, whatever.
I was there.
You will both be there now, right? At Dream League, if I'm not mistaken. He was just invited a few days ago.
He's starting today, actually.
Oh, that's awesome.
He's there now.
Yeah, he was really good. I mean, I didn't really expect him to be, a bad caster or anything. It's just because I watch his stream all the time, and yeah, he's well spoken and he's a fun guy. So glad that worked.
So
out.
as far as I know, Kezu is doing the event today, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then I'm doing Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But I think he's going to stay there. I don't know if he's going to do some guest appearance after that, but
cool.
Yeah, he's working the 3 days that are happening right now. So I'll check him out.
As far as the group stage went, the upper bracket consists of Nigma, Fnatic, Secret, Vici, IG, Alliance, Na'Vi, and EG, which means the lower bracket is Team Aster, TNC, Beast Coast, Chaos, Esports Club. That's a mouthful. Team Liquid, Pain Gaming, Reality Rift, and Virtus Pro. The lower bracket is best of ones. We got to cast Group C, and this is the only group I got to watch. I don't know about you, so maybe we'll talk about it just a tad.
Yeah, I watched very little else, I think, outside of it.
So in our group, as we said, VP and Reality Rift got 3rd and 4th, 4th and 3rd, technically. VP was, I don't know if you caught day 2, Cinder. I don't think you were casting that one. That was some of the worst pro Dota I have ever seen from VP. They played so badly. There's a guy on Reality Rift named Hustler who played Rubik. And this is not an exaggeration. You may have seen a post about this. And first of all, he's a really good Rubik, so I don't want to make it seem like he didn't do a good job. He stole Song from Naga 5 times in a row. Literally 5 times in a row. How is that possible? It was so incredibly bad. Didn't save mirror image one time.
In the past, it would be impossible, right? Because you would just use Riptide.
Yeah.
But now that Riptide is a passive, you need to ensnare or mirror image. If you Song, you can't ensnare because everything around you is invulnerable. So you have to save mirror image. But most of the time you enter a fight, you actually have mirror image running. So it's more forgivable now than it used to be. But if you lose to the same play 2 or 3 times in a row in a match, you need to adapt.
It was literally
5 times is
in a row.
not. Yeah, that's bad.
So overall, VP, their roster, I don't know about the 2 new guys, if you will, but like No One, Solo, and Resolution, they're really good players. No one played especially bad, I thought, in these group stages. So we'll see if they can turn it around. What did you think of this group overall, though?
I think it didn't go the way I expected. I would have probably put VP bottom 2, but not 4th. And I definitely thought even if they lose, they would win a game. But they got 2-0 twice, and they did not look great. IG and Alliance would have been my picks to go through, so that doesn't surprise me too much. And overall, the games that we cast, Alliance and IG just clearly look better, right? So I think it's fair. And we had an awesome game between the two as well, 75 minutes.
Oh, yes.
With some dope items in the end to finish it off.
We got the Apex Drow Ranger along with the Fusion Rune Drow Ranger. I think somebody in chat was telling us that they did test it. I keep forgetting to test it, but you can cast it on other people. So that just kind of shows that even they are not super familiar with these 70-minute. I mean, nobody plays as many 70-minute games as me. Like, I'm the only one fortunate enough to be a part of that. But maybe I can coach one of these teams in the future. You know, but we'll see.
I'm happy if I don't get to play 70-minute games.
Yeah, it's
honestly,
very.
I might
stressful.
be one of the few. I think a lot of people would love to try it a couple of times. I'm like, you know, I can imagine it. I can have nightmares about it instead. Then.
Yeah, it was very. They were pretty. I mean, they were probably going to win anyway, but they were lucky in terms of like if you had to choose what items to get, those would have been 2 of the 3 for sure, and they got them. So. Yeah. Overall, pretty cool group. We'll see how they do in the actual upper bracket, which I guess by next week we can talk about all the results. So looking forward to that.
Realistically, based on the play that we saw from these 2 teams, they both have a good shot at top 4. And I think one of them will make it to top 4, but I don't know who. And I will almost guarantee at least one of them makes top 6. I would be very surprised if they both don't make it there at all.
I mean, the fact that they can't go into the best of ones now ensures that at least it will be best of 3. And based on how they played, I think that's probably pretty accurate. So what are your predictions? I don't know. Did they? I guess it already started, so I can't actually make predictions on my app, the DPC app.
It's broken anyway. You can't even open it.
Oh, great. What do you predict?
I saw a post that when you press the app, it just closes itself instantly. It doesn't work.
That guy was using an iPhone, so that might be the first problem.
Oh, yeah. That's if you use an iPhone, when you switch it on, it should switch itself off. So that's fine.
I couldn't say it better myself.
So let's see. Let's pick our favorites to make top 3 in no particular order, and then call it a day.
Okay, you go first.
Secret, Vici, and IG for me.
Really? Okay, I was gonna go Secret, Vici, and the third place is really hard. You know, I'm gonna go Alliance.
Alliance third. Okay. Yeah, I could see it.
That's kind of a wild card. I feel like the top 2 strongest teams, Vici and Team Secret, I think that's pretty clear. Honestly.
And they were in the same group.
Yeah. That's the crazy part. I mean, EG could easily do it. Nigma as well. I don't know. It's tough to say. But should be a good tournament. So we'll obviously talk about that when the time actually comes. Speaking of tournaments, ESL 1 Birmingham was announced, Cinderin. It's going to be May 29th to 31st.
Yep.
Were you at the last one?
I was not. I've never been to Birmingham.
Oh, well, maybe this podcast will help you rise to fame so they actually invite you to ESL 1 Birmingham.
I might want to go. It's not that far from me either. It's pretty easy.
You do live in a good location for that. Everything's far from me because there's no NA tournaments except for ESL 1 LA.
Yep. That's true.
So in sad news, I guess you could call it, Gunnar has been kicked from NIP, aka Ninjas in Pajamas. Do you have any thoughts about this? Because I remember we had the discussion, but I want to see, like, before this went down, I want to see if you remember any of it.
I don't remember what our discussion was, but basically what happened with very short notice was that NIP removed Skitter from their team, and then they got a mid player to replace him, and Skitter was playing carry. So they got Tanner, they moved Gunnar to carry, and then they played this tournament shortly after. I mean, I need to drink some water.
Oh, me too. Jinx, my friend. Chug it.
Man, my voice is
Wait, where's your tumbler thing, or whatever you call it?
Tumbler?
Well, I forget what you call your little bottle of water you usually have. You call it something like a stave or something. Starts with an S.
Stein?
Stein,
yeah.
Where's your Stein?
It's in the dishwasher.
Oh, no. That's why I have 2 of these, Cinderin. I never run out.
Yeah, I have 2 glasses now as well, because 1 glass is not enough, so it's time to start on number 2. Cheers.
That looks like a Dota glass. Is that a Brewmaster?
It's Invoker.
Oh, close.
And the other one is...
Crystal Maiden?
Is this a Dota glass?
That's just a regular glass. That's just a normal glass, Cinderin.
One of them has almost lost all of its print, so I was imagining if it could have I think
You're
this
losing
might have been
your
a Dota
mind.
glass that lost all of its print. It might have just been the Dota 2 logo
How
on it.
often do you wash a glass for it to be completely gone at this point?
I've had these for years.
Yeah, but you
and the
stop
quality
using
of the
them.
prints are not. Well, I don't stop using them. That's my secret. I wear
Use
them
your
down.
Stein and put a
Yeah,
Dota
I use
logo
my
on
Stein
it.
when I can.
Anyway, continue with the
Yeah.
Gunnar.
So Gunnar was moved to carry. They played this tournament. They played their practice. I guess it didn't really work out. And obviously, NIP, both the team and the org, is not happy with this kind of results where you go to a minor and get last place, right? So, not just that, but if it was one-off tournament, shit happens. You go next. But NIP have not been looking good for months, and they've tried stuff that didn't work. So it's time for a change. And I think this was one of the ways to do it, right? You've taken your mid player, you moved him to carry. You didn't really like what happened. At this point, you need to choose: do you keep Gunnar or do you keep Tanner? And they've had Gunnar for a longer time and they haven't really found success. So maybe they feel like Tanner has some sort of different potential, and then they'll find another carry player. I completely understand NIP making changes. I don't think the roster that they had before or the roster that they had just now had the promise that they would be looking for. But you have to play with what you got. I didn't really see the immediate synergy between the players in multiple ways. So we'll see what they find now and if that solves the problem. But yeah, NIP are not looking great right now.
Yeah, they definitely had some struggles. So the thing I was alluding to is our original discussion when Gunnar joined. I said that I wouldn't even call this inside information. I just been hearing things, let's just say, without naming names, that about personalities, because I'm always interested in the dynamics within the team and if they would work. Because I feel like, and again, I'm biased because it's me, but I feel like if you show me a team of 5 players, I will be able to tell, if I know enough about them, I will be able to tell you if they're going to work together. And I was like, there's no way this is going to work. I think Gunnar's he's a good player. I think he's actually a good personality as well, but maybe a little sensitive at times, and that just will never mix well with somebody like PPD. I feel like it was just, for me, it was written in stone. It's just never going to work. I don't know if that actually has anything to do with what happened, if it was just purely play. I have no information on that at all, but
if it
in
was
the end, the result is not
if it was a personality clash, I think it would have been more short-lived than it was, because they did play together for, a couple of months, right? If you can't work together at all on a personal level, you would have switched one of them out in the 10 round, right?
I feel like a couple of months is still pretty short, though. In the grand scheme of things.
I'm not going to disagree with that, but it's Dota, so
true. The Wild
when
West,
people get problems,
as it were.
Yeah, it can go quickly. And this is even with an org like NIP that have signed contracts and everything. Things can move quickly when it needs to happen. At the end of the day, the org is looking for success, and if you have a dysfunctional team, most of the time the best move is just to let a player out of their contract and find a different solution, or at least bench them, right? But benching a player also costs you. That's why the orgs a lot of the time will want to just release the player entirely from their contract instead of trying to sell them, because if the player is in a position where they don't think they can sell them at the current time to any of the other teams, then you're basically hemorrhaging money by just having them on the bench, because as per the contract, they're entitled to X percentage of a full-time salary by being benched. Because, right, like, if you're benched, you're not playing for another team, so you're losing opportunities.
Like, Sumail aside, which we'll get to next in this next topic, but I don't think benching is really a strategy in Dota. Like, it doesn't work in its ecosystem.
Seem very good. No.
Because of the structure. If there's more structure like a League of Legends, then yes, you can absolutely get it, because people are going to be buying out those contracts or whatever the case may be. But Dota is just too random, I think, for that to work. Other than the oddballs like perhaps Sumail, which we still don't know a lot of information on, but there's been rumors that he will be going to China, Cinderin. In fact, he said it on stream, quote unquote, by accident.
It was some porn level acting by Sumail there, I think.
Possibly, or he could just be a really good actor.
It's next level.
You never know.
There's that meme again with "I was just pretending," Shannon. There it is. I don't think so. It doesn't make sense. He doesn't speak Chinese. Why would he play for a Chinese team unless it has international components? I don't think there's any team coming up with that. I don't know if he would want it anyway as a person to live and play in China. Some people will play anywhere in the world, others won't. I don't know if Sumail is one of them. Yeah, honestly, don't know. I don't really know what the look or what the perspective is for Sumail right now. But this China thing, if it turned out to be real, I would be shocked. Actually,
Really?
that would be the biggest surprise for me. Yeah, it would be a really big surprise.
I would not be shocked, actually.
Well, what team can you envision him in China?
He
right
would
now?
be in a team that is not Chinese. It would be a Chinese.
Okay,
org.
so he's right. But which team would you assemble right now that plays in China?
I have no idea. Just the scraps
Right.
of. I mean,
So
you
that's
can.
the thing.
Oh, here's the thing. We're talking about
maybe.
China money. You can poach anybody. We talked about poaching
Sure.
like last week or the week before. Anybody can do it. There's no rules. So why not? Where you have a shit ton of money to deal with. I don't know. I could see it.
Sumail definitely is money driven, right? He said that in a TI interview. It's like money or fame. He's like money.
Yeah, well,
So,
of course.
Yeah.
Some would take
not
fame
of course.
because
I think a lot of
it
people
comes
would.
with money. I mean, you could argue that.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. What can you buy with your fame, though?
I mean, you can sell your fame.
I wonder if there's any way at all that PPD and Sumail can actually bury the hatchet and move on.
No.
I personally don't see that happening.
No.
It's not because I think they're over it, honestly.
Like
at some point things get better. Even if you were on bad terms over time, depending on the people and the but we don't know exactly what happened. Things can definitely get better. I think they're on better terms, but I don't think they will play together. That's my guess on this.
You said you'll be shocked if he plays in China. I will be mega shocked if they ever team up again. I don't think there's any way.
Especially for NIP, where I think right now a player of Sumail's value will probably not want to go to a team like that, right? That's also the thing I have with this whole China thing is, if he's not joining a current top Chinese team, isn't he just shooting himself in the foot? He's like, his stock is insanely high. Any team that wants to make a shuffle at a high level in like the top 8 of the world would be looking at this guy as a possible player. So why would he force himself into a team that struggles in minors or some team that just gets thrown together in China unless they pay him big money, right? Like that's got to be the only reason he would do that. So, but yeah.
But I would expect something to be announced about him in the next few weeks because we're getting to that time
I think he said 2 weeks already.
Okay. Well, there you go. I'm a prophet.
We will hear something.
Cool. Okay. And then the last topic. Actually, I wanted to say this reminded me of when I was part of DC. There were discussions and rumblings about this being a possibility, and I always thought it would be so cool. Of course, this isn't really a thing now, but we had heard that Zhao 8 always wanted to come and play in the U.S. And I was thinking at the time, like, wow, that would be, it's a high risk because he speaks a little English, but not very well, obviously. There's going to be a huge language barrier. Then the whole culture shock that comes with it. But that would be so cool to have somebody like Zhao 8 just play in NA for a year, don't you think? That would be just, I don't know. Like, I feel like a lot of people would want to play with him.
Yeah,
you agree?
For sure. Yeah, NA could use it. They could use a good player. So... Sure.
I mean, how old is he at this point? Good Lord.
He's a dad. I don't think he plays anymore. He coaches one of the teams, and then I don't think he's coming back, but maybe. I don't know. If he does, I think he stays in China, though. I think his perspective has changed after getting a kid.
Do you think that let's just put that back in the, like, let's say a few years ago this did happen. Do you think it could have been successful, or is it just would it have been doomed?
I think. Yeah.
You think that could work? Somebody coming over that doesn't speak
caliber that I think it could have worked. Yeah, I think so. But at the same time, it's a bit of a burden, right? Like if you're the captain and a drafter and you can't communicate your ideas very well, that can be a problem. But at the same time, I think this guy would be able to learn to communicate better relatively quickly. A lot of the time, Dota isn't about throwing around advanced vocabulary or making complicated explanations. It's about keeping it basic and simple and understandable for everybody. And sometimes the concepts are complicated, but can be explained in a relatively simple way. And the challenging thing is understanding it, but not understanding the language, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Just like you can use simple words to explain rocket physics, but you're just like, what the fuck's going on? Rocket science, or quantum physics,
Fire, air.
Like if you put it in layman's terms, something really complicated can be, you can understand the basic level of it, but when it gets advanced, it's wrapping your head around it that's the harder thing, not the language itself.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's true. Okay, last topic. Do you have any predictions for the post-major patch?
Yes, I do.
Give it to me.
I think we have the same prediction. We both think neutral items will absolutely get changed in the form they are.
But how? Give me your prediction on how.
Okay, so let me quickly look them up. I'll give you my take on what I think should happen. Not do you want that, or do you want the actual prediction? Because there's things I think should happen that won't happen.
I feel like we went over what should happen last week. So let's talk about
what I think will happen. Okay.
Yes.
I think every hero will get a designated item slot out of all the things we talked about. I think it's more likely to happen. It's probably the best compromise between scrapping the idea entirely and keeping it the way it is right now. Because, they've put in a lot of effort. A lot of the items are super cool. I'm still not too big a fan of the concept of it entirely, but if you mitigate the way that it works, I think it can be like a fun little addition instead of like a really core thing of the game. It's obviously still important, right? Because everybody has an item slot, but you don't get these like ridiculous 3 neutral item heroes at 25 minutes that are just like bosses. Mm-hmm. And if you're a support and you get one item, it helps you, but you're not suddenly a support that has Craggy Coat, Essence Ring, and Pupil's Gift or whatever, or Dragon Scale. Like, you're not. We actually had a game that we cast in this tournament with an IO that got almost the dream items, and it was fucking stupid, right? So,
yep.
You're still going to have an IO get an Essence Ring, which will be amazing, but at least it doesn't also have a Craggy Coat or a Dragon Scale and all these things. Then he has to choose. I think that will happen. I think Repair Kit will get removed. I don't like the concept. I don't think it belongs in the game. I feel like a lot of other people will have pushed for the same, so there's a good chance that gets removed. That's the only item that I feel pretty strongly about getting removed. There might be a couple of others that do, but that's the one that needs. I think Trusty Shovel will get reworked a bit. The concept is a bit weird right now. Either it stops digging up bounty runes and it gets lower cooldown, and then it can dig up the other things reliably, or you just redesign it in a way.
I thought of a cool idea for Trusty Shovel. What if there's a 1% chance that you die?
Or that you dig up another shovel.
Or you dig up Roshan. He moves to you and just beats the shit out of you. That's your death. That's pretty good.
Dig up Roshan.
It's like a Roshan egg, and then you have to sit there and sit on it for 5 minutes, and then Roshan comes out, and he fights for your team. This is a Slacks idea. I don't know. I'm starting to sound like Slacks for sure. You have to nest that baby Roshan egg, and of course it'll come with cosmetics. Okay, anyway, is that it?
Yeah.
Because I got some as well.
I mean, we're getting some hero changes, right? There will be some heroes.
Tree nerfed, yes. Here's way too strong.
I think Tree will get nerfed.
Jesus.
I think, man, I don't know what to do about Io.
You could delete him from the game temporarily.
That's a very bad solution. What else? I think Doom will get nerfed a bit again. Probably a nerf to Disruptor as well. He seems really favored right now. Like, we don't have to go into details. Like, the heroes at the major that are getting the most love and are picked the most and are rated the highest will all get nerfed a little bit, right? Yep. As per usual. So it's more about like the overarching things that I like looking at, like concepts such as neutral items. What happens to the concept, or what happens to the map? Like, is something being done about it being super Radiant favored, supposedly? I think in the tournament before the minor, the last LAN, Radiant had a 60% win rate, I think. And it's not that ridiculous if it's like 20 games, but if it's like 50 or 100, it starts mattering. So maybe something will be done to limit Radiant's advantage. We thought this patch might balance it out a bit better, but it seemingly hasn't done as good of a job as one would have hoped.
I know that we've talked about this before, and this is probably the most triggering suggestion that I have, and we've talked about it again. Like,
you want the map mirrored.
Do you think that will ever happen? Symmetrical.
Where do you put Roche?
You have 2 Roche pits on each side of the river,
And
and
it's
he
random which one he
spawns.
spawns in?
Yeah, the one he spawns in first is random. Then when he dies, he spawns in the next one the next time. Do you think there's any like everybody hates this idea because League is symmetrical, which I didn't even know when I suggested this, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it just makes it boring. Everything gets the same. But I feel like the heroes are so like League is boring because of the heroes more than anything, in my opinion. Right? The heroes are just so different and powerful in Dota that, and plus this makes it easier for people like newer players to learn the map. Right?
I'm not against mirroring the map because it's what League did. I am of the opinion I don't care where the concept is from. If it's good, put it in. We got inspired by Heroes of the Storm with talents. It works great. I don't care that it's from HOTS. All this elitism with my game better than yours, we can't learn from each other. Like, fuck that, dude. Make the game the best you can, right? If somebody else has a genius idea in the real world, you're gonna use it. You're not gonna be like, oh man, these shoes are really fucking cool, but unfortunately, they were made by Riot, so I'm never going to buy them. People are probably going to be like that, right? But you get the point. If it's something functional that makes your life better, like go for it, right? So if the game is great, then or there's a good concept, put it in. The problem I have with it is that I'm not against it because it's from League or that they have done it. I'm against it because I feel like it takes away part of the charm of the map. Like having the map be asymmetrical and having these unique spots for juking or for specific lineups to fight better around specific areas and stuff, I think is a really flavorful thing that is lost. And I don't think the gain is worth it. I think there has to be another way of balancing the map. So it doesn't have to be flat out 50-50. I think that's almost impossible.
Well, it's not if it's mirrored, right?
If it's mirrored, the win rate will not be 50-50.
It's still going to be, of course it's never going to be 50-50 exactly, right? But like your argument is actually the best argument I've heard. But I feel like that's more of a nostalgia thing than an actual gameplay thing. You're bringing up example. I don't want to get into this argument because I don't really care that much anymore. It's been so many years at this point, but I'm interested to hear what people think, of stuff like this. That's somewhat drastic because that is technically speaking from a competitive standpoint, the best move to make.
So what you're saying is if you mirrored the map, you would always play bottom left.
So that's your choice. It would be your choice whether you want to actually play from the bottom left going up. Because technically speaking, like everybody uses their mini map on the bottom left, right? So in theory, it's more efficient to play on Dire, just from that aspect, because you don't misclick your mini map as much, right? Or is it? Yeah.
Well, if it's bottom right, you also don't misclick it, right?
Well, as Radiant, you don't. Oh, that's true. Yeah. Either way, if it's on the right, but most people use it on the left anyway. Because when you're Radiant and you're running back to base, or I forget what the scenario is, but you sometimes click your mini map by accident. It's just a small thing, just very small things. It doesn't really matter that much. All right, is that your full list? Because I got a list, Syndran.
I have a couple of things I would want tweaked, but I don't know if it's worth going over.
Well, you're the judge and jury. You tell me.
Okay. You know what? I'll just quickly tell you what neutral items I want changed.
Okay.
But this is what I want, not what I think will happen then.
Oh, well, we're changing the topic then.
I don't know. This is my prediction so far. If you want to hear the rest, I'll tell you.
And the rest of the story. Okay, if it's just a couple, go ahead.
Yeah. So I think Mango Tree should be removed. Okay. Personally. Yeah. Weird item. Clumsy Net, lower cast range. I would like Essence Ring to not heal, but just increase your current health. That is the solution to the IO problem without making Essence Ring bad on any other hero, right? So currently Essence Ring gives you 420 health and heals you 425. What if it just increased your current health by 425? So it's not a heal, but it's just a flat increase, if that makes sense. Then if you do that on IO, you don't heal your ally for the amount, but you still get the health, which is kind of
that's a very elegant change.
Craggy Coat, I would like to give minus move speed. So it's a craggy coat, right? It's heavy. You lose
the lore implications. Yes.
I mean, you lose attack speed from it, right? But what if you also lost move speed to just as a nerf? Because then you need to choose. Okay, do I want to be tanky at the cost of mobility? Because right now it's a non-factor, right? Any support, this item is god tier because you don't care about your attack speed. You just get 13 armor for free. That's fucking amazing. It's like 2k gold.
You could also just lower the armor.
Sure, but that's kind of a more like less elegant solution in my opinion, because then now you're just comparing it to plate mail, right? That's kind of what ends up happening, is that it becomes plate mail at that point. That's then you could remove it as well. That's another option. I wouldn't mind seeing this item gone. That's a different one, I think. I'd like to see Enchanted Quiver changed so it has
So it's good.
So that it has an active, like, take aim on sniper, right? That you can activate that and get one hit for bonus range. If Enchanted Quiver was that way, so you can choose when you want the long range hit, the item gets a lot better because now it's in your control. If not, you could just be wasting away your high range attack when you don't want it, and then you don't have it when the fight starts. You're not in control of when you want it, right?
Yeah, that definitely makes it better.
And you could lower the cooldown by 1 second or something. Yeah, remove Repair Kit. And then I think Telescope should be changed. Either moved up a tier and buffed a little bit, or removed or lowered on the aura stats on the current tier. Because that item, to me, is too good. Yeah. Okay, that was my wish list.
Okay. So things that I think will actually get changed. I think I agree. Repair Kit will be removed. I think that's the most annoying one right now. The neutral item net worth issue, I think that will be fixed in some way.
Okay, do you have a suggestion?
I sure don't. I think I like the idea of just adding a monetary value internally
to
for each
tier.
Respective item.
Okay, for each respective item, not for the tier.
Yeah, because within the tier, there's obviously they're not balanced. Some of them are really bad, and some of them are really good, which I think is fine.
And then an item like Royal Jelly has a value until it's consumed, and then it doesn't, or then it still does.
Royal Jelly just gets cut in half net worth wise for whoever has it.
Okay, so if you use it on yourself, you infuse yourself with 250 net worth, for example.
Right.
Okay.
I think that would be. I mean, I understand the negatives that come with it that we talked about last week, so we won't get into it. But I think that's just, of the ideas I've heard, I think that's the best one.
I just saw a suggestion in chat. That's really good.
What's that?
Give everyone a shovel, but nerf it heavily. Just have these 10 players running around digging for treasure.
I mean, it's no different than the battle pass every year, so why not? I mean, we're
so funny.
I really hope that doesn't happen,
anyway. But it sounds so funny.
I think that we haven't talked about this that much, but I think bounty runes will be moved. The 2 that are on the outpost, I think, will be moved somewhere else. I like the idea of if you, it needs to be a risk-reward situation. If you're able to control both outposts, you shouldn't be able to get all the runes as well, because it becomes too snowbally. So I like the idea of moving
so
those
what was that again?
Move the 2 bounty runes that are attached to the outposts. Yeah. So that it's not an automatic thing that if you get the outpost, you also get half the bounties at minimum, if not more, because it just
this
becomes
is something
more
you think will happen or something you want to happen.
Okay, I cheated. It's something I want.
That's something
to
you want to happen.
Yes,
I actually think that's a really good suggestion, but I don't know where to put them.
Anywhere, doesn't matter.
But I like that idea. I like that idea a lot.
And then one thing I think will happen is I think fortification will be nerfed. Is it just me, or are they just way too good? They just stopped an entire push. Yeah, it's way too good. Maybe because they did buff it right in the last, or one of the patches recently. I think it'll get brought down at least a little bit, which I think is important. And then the last thing, Cinderin, that I think will happen, I think Void Spirit and Snapfire will be put into Captain's mode. And
true.
I think they will both get Aghanim's Scepter, which I, of course, would like to discuss with you. I didn't even think about this until the podcast started, so I haven't really given it any thought. But would you like to make suggestions with me on what ags they can get?
I totally forgot about that whole aspect of them not being in CM. I think maybe one of them makes it in, but not both. But actually, you know what? No, you're probably right. They'll both be put in CM, maybe be nerfed a little bit or changed a little bit, one of them or both, and then go for a spin. Yeah, that's true. I totally forgot that. Ag suggestions. Okay, you do Void Spirit and I'll do Snapfire, because I have not played Void Spirit yet at all, but I have a really good read on Snapfire.
Okay. So Void Spirit, it was pretty difficult now that I'm thinking about it more, because the first thing that comes to mind is the ult. But if you give him an extra charge on his ult, which is the first thing I thought of when he was originally introduced, it's way too good. Way too good. So I don't think his ult is going to be touched at all with Ags. I think it might be with his Aether Remnant. I don't know if this is even good, but actually it must be good. Let's say you place an Aether Remnant in whatever direction, it'll also create a second one in the opposite direction. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Do you think that's good?
I don't know how good that is.
So one will
It sounds really situational.
It does. What if it's 4, like a cross? Is that good? That has.
What
to
if
be
it's
good.
just a whole circle?
There you go.
It's like electric vortex, basically.
I feel like it'll be something with Aether Remnant because the other ones just sound too generic. Like Dissimulate, you would create like a bigger AoE, maybe. That doesn't sound that good though. You know, maybe with the 25 talent it would be good. But either way, I don't think it's going to be a crazy ags. I think it's just going to be something that's kind of meh, and then they'll micro buff over time. What do you got for Snapfire?
So the best thing I can come up with on the spot like this is that you can cast Fire Snap cookies on enemies, and then they get stunned.
Ooh.
So currently you throw it on an ally or yourself, and they jump in toward the enemy and stuns in the area. But if you could throw it on an enemy hero, then they will be pushed toward you and then get stunned on the ground themselves and the
toward whatever direction they're facing.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So
they can see it coming and then move the opposite direction, but
the reason it could be balanced, because having spells like that force enemies out of position is really difficult to balance. It's kind of, if you think back on the Earth Spirit pull, when the old Geomagnetic Grip just pulled an ally, that shit was so broken when you could do that from level 1. Like, you just moving heroes around is one of the most powerful mechanics in the whole game, is repositioning. So the reason I could see this being balanced is that it has a travel time and you can react. So you can turn around, or you can dagger, or you can BKB, whatever it is. And then that could be some sort of utility. If it's not that, I don't know how you would do it with Mortimer Kisses, right? Because they would, since you're manually clicking them, you can't do anything in the meantime. So you would only change that ability to do something extra from what it already does, like more hits or
I agree. I don't think it would be the
That's
ult.
boring.
Yeah. I was originally thinking
Shredder,
it would be Fire Snap Cookie gets 2 charges.
Oh yeah, you could give 2 charges to something, which is also not that creative, but that is also a possibility. 2 cookies.
The other one I thought of was Scatter Blast is 360 degrees self-cast.
That sounds really weak.
Really? You cookie in, really, and then you do a 360 Scatter Blast. That sounds okay.
It's not good enough.
Okay.
I'm pretty convinced that's not good enough. Because of its range, right? Like, it's a 1 second AoE slow, but the damage is not significant enough unless all of the enemy heroes are close.
It is more situational, yeah.
It's very unlikely to happen.
But I think considering all the data they have on these heroes, because I think they're relatively balanced right now, I don't think the Ags are going to be like must purchases on either of them.
You could maybe do some sort of ignite effect on a little Shredder with Ags, where it has synergy with all of the 3 other spells, because Scatter Blast, Cookie, and Mortimer all have some sort of debuff, and maybe the Shredder could like ignite off of the enemy being burnt or stunned or something.
That sounds like Brewmaster.
Yeah, kind of.
I don't think the Ags will be attributed to the Mortimer Kisses or Lil Shredder. I'm pretty certain on that. Yeah, maybe Scatterblast, but most likely
the aggressive cookie could be fun.
Yeah, I like it. Very good idea, Syndron. We'll see if it comes true. Okay, well, that brings our Dota section to a close. We have one little topic that we can discuss, Cinderman. I have written down injuries.
Right.
Have you had any injuries in your life?
So this was a suggestion. This was a suggestion from Maruna. She was like, "Okay, if you have nothing to talk," I don't know how she even came up with it. I can start if you want. So she was just talking about general, like, if you've ever hurt yourself, like sports injuries, or when you were a kid, or whatever it is, or you hurting your leg so you can't have blood, whatever. All right, I'll go first. I've never broken anything. So I don't know how uncommon that is. I feel like everybody you know has broken something once through sport or through bad luck or whatever, but I've never had a broken limb. So the worst physical injury thingies I can remember was, one of them is from badminton. This one's actually pretty funny. You know, when you really, it's like this classic when you really need to stretch for something, you get vocal, right? You know this thing when you're reaching really far, you're like,
sure.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. When you really reach. So I had a ball that I needed to jump for in badminton, and I was really reaching. So I was like getting vocal, and then I slammed my teeth into the ground. You can imagine jumping.
Ground?
You can imagine jumping to reach a ball, and you go and then your teeth hit the floor. Yeah, that happened. That was very bad.
Hold on. You're saying you fell on your face first on the ground.
So if you imagine this, you jump forward in badminton to reach a ball close to the net.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And then as you do it, because you're stretching, you get vocal, and then my teeth hit the ground. My upper teeth. I didn't break any teeth, but it was obviously painful and annoying. But yeah, it hurt for a while, and then it stopped. Outside of that, I fell down the stairs once. I fell down the stairs at my friend's place once, where I didn't catch onto the railing. So my butt hit every step down the way. So basically my tailbone was really hurting for a while.
Do you think
bad.
that contributed to your ingrown hair in your butt that you got removed?
Absolutely. Every step it rammed in the hair. And what else? The last thing I can think of that was really painful was in second grade of high school, we were on a student trip to France, and we were in one of the hotel rooms or whatever. And we were sharing rooms, I think. So they were like double beds. And I wanted to jump over in the bed, and somebody was laying in the bed. And they had, imagine you lie down in bed and you have like your leg bent, right? So your knee is up. So I jumped there, and then I landed solar plexus straight into that knee. I got all the air knocked out of me. That was really fucking painful and uncomfortable. I didn't get hurt, but that was probably the most painful thing I've ever experienced. That was more painful than the tooth thing.
You've never been kicked in the balls or anything?
I think it compares in pain to any ball. No, it's. I haven't been.
How would you know if you've never been kicked in the balls?
I haven't been full force kicked in the balls. No, but solar plexus first, where you have. It's like one thing if you get like hit by something there, right? But when you full on lunge or like launch rather yourself into it, there's a lot of.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, it was bad. But yeah, I haven't broken anything. So I guess in terms of like long-term pain, I've been very lucky. It's just been these like short bursts of bad pain that I've
Short bursts of misery for you. That's good to hear.
What about you? I bet you hurt yourself doing something.
Yes, I did.
Of course you did.
Oh boy, this story. God, this is such a stupid story. I think I may have told this before in the past, but this is the only time I broke a bone in my entire life. This was junior year of high school. Do you know what grade that would be? It's like 11th
junior
grade,
year of high school?
I guess. Yeah.
So you're like 15, 16?
Yeah, probably 16, 17.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I was at a LAN party.
Okay, now I have no idea what the injury is.
I injured myself at a LAN party, Cinderin. I don't know how it's possible, but I did it. So I was at my friend's house. No, sorry, not my friend. I was hanging out with my friend, and he invited me to this LAN party with his friend. So I didn't know anybody there, just my friend. So it was very uncomfortable for me to be sitting there. We were playing Counter-Strike and whatnot, and by the way, this is when I was in my true prime. I was fucking god tier, like super fucking god tier. Okay.
Why am I not surprised we're bringing up CS:GO?
Dude, I am telling you, I was an actual god at this game. Okay. This was during the beta stage, like the late beta stages of Counter-Strike. Right. Not that this is important in any way. It doesn't contribute to the story in any way, but I just wanted to say it one more time.
Sure.
For whatever reason, they wanted to go prank somebody. And I'm just wanting to play games all day. I'm like, eh. And I was very socially awkward back then. And again, I don't know these people at all other than my one friend. So I just want to fit in. Usually I'm a nonconformist. I don't, if somebody wants me to drink with them, I rarely do. Like, I just do what I want to do. This was not one of those instances.
You've done it for me once, Shannon. I really appreciate that.
I did it for you once. That is true, because you're a good friend. So they want to prank somebody by... The prank was something like somebody gets inside of a box, ring their doorbell, and then pop out. It was really stupid, okay? That's the prank. I don't know. I don't know any backstory. Don't ask any questions. I don't have any memory of this. So the part of the story that actually we're talking about now is how we got to this place. So for whatever fucking reason, this guy, the guy that the house is owned by, has a pickup truck, and he wants to drive everybody there. So people start getting into the bed of the pickup truck, and there's not enough room for everybody.
Oh, no.
So I am on the back of it with my hand on the back and my feet on the bumper, I guess it would be, and I'm very uncomfortable. And I'm like, I'm trying to get into the bed of the truck because there is technically room, but he starts driving, okay? And I'm like, oh, shit. So I start holding on, and he's in a residential area. He's legitimately going like I guess I have to do the conversions. He's going like 40 or 45 miles an hour in a residential, which is like twice as fast as he should be going. Like pretty freaking fast for, that area.
70. That's really fast.
And I started to panic. Like, again, you have to understand that I don't know how I'd react now, but I felt like a little kid. I had just a few years prior, I'd come from Saudi Arabia, and I just had huge culture shock. There's a lot of contributing factors of why I acted like this. I started to panic. So while he's driving, I'm like, I'm just going to get into the bed of the truck because I don't want to hang off of this. This is ridiculous. So I put one leg over as I'm getting in. He hits the brakes and then the gas again, and I just fly off somersault style. And I have very little memory of what actually happened afterwards, but they pick me up. They put me back into the truck. They drive back to the original house. And my friend starts to help me into the truck or into the house with my arm over him or whatever. And I hear my leg just feels like it snaps during the walk. I'm like, oh, and it hurts really bad. I have all these like cuts on my arms and I still have all these scars actually like all over my body from this because I rolled over on the ground. So it turns out it was only a hairline fracture, but it was a fracture in my fibula, which is like in your ankle. The funny thing is I don't even remember what leg it is anymore. I think it was my left, but I actually don't know for sure. I also got a concussion, and I was on crutches for a few months. So it's the one time I broke.
You got away lucky
something.
even with that.
Yeah.
Like,
that was
this
really
sounds
stupid.
like this is the kind of accident where you can actually, that can be fatal.
Yep.
That's fucking.
So I'm the only
shit.
person I know that got a broken bone at a LAN party. So
right. Well, it wasn't technically at the LAN party. That would have been a really funny story too.
I got really so angry when I didn't headshot.
Somebody threw his monitor at me.
That would be a Puppy incident right there for sure. Maybe Puppy can come on the show and tell us his story sometime.
Tell us.
All right, so that brings this episode to an end. Sindren, have you watched In Bruges?
What do you think?
I don't think you have, Sindren.
You are right. Good guess, Shannon.
Thank you.
You win a point. Woo!
Well, at least this ends on a high note. I'm right about something, so that's good.
Yes. Excellent.
So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Remember, you can catch this podcast live at twitch.tv/SUNSfan or on Dota Cinema for the actual VOD, or on any podcast-related app, including, but not limited to, Spotify. A lot of people the meme is continuing. Is this on Spotify, Sindren? Indeed it is. Believe it or not, guys. It actually is. But if you go to sunsfan.gg/podcast, it'll give you an entire list of all the audio platforms that are available for this bad boy. So thanks for watching, guys. Until next week. We should be on schedule for next week, right?
Yes, I think so. I don't see why not.
You get back from the major like a day before that or something?
Yeah, I come back on the 27th at like noon.
Sick.
Or in the afternoon. So
now, are we expecting the patch to be out by then? That's the question.
It could be. That would be a great episode.
It would be. But Ice Frog, if you're listening, I don't care how polished it is. You come out with that shit immediately.
Release something, dude.
Please, God. All right, thanks, guys. Until next time, SUNSfan Sindren signing out.
Bye.
Goodbye. We say things that don't mean anything, but thanks for listening.